everyone, and welcome to the David Goodman Reality and Truth Show. My name is Vanita Lambert, and I'm the host of this show, and I have the honor of bringing on very special guests like Carmen Nieves, who we have on today's show. Carmen, thank you so much for being here. Carmen Nieves she wears many, many hats. I'll take up the whole show if I told you about everything she did. But her latest venture is, she is the founder of Vima Row and Company. So I'm gonna ask her to tell us just what Vima Row is all about. And I went to the open house, I know some of it, but I am really, really excited to share this information with the community. Carmen, thank you so much for coming on.
Vanita, first let me just say thank you so much for having me on. You've always been such a supporter of not only myself, but people in the community, sharing information, helping people get insurance and so many other things. So you are somebody that I definitely respect, and thank you so much for having me on the show. I am so proud of this organization. So I'll give you some history on it, but I'll tell you first what it is.
Okay.
So Vima Row and Company is a community learning, healing, and service center. And we service our members in three very specific ways. One, we offer co-working space. We offer build and create space. We have a retail store. And everything falls into those like three buckets: co-working, retail, and building and learning. So that's what the organization is. I don't know how many people like really know, but I've been kind of like MIA for a minute, maybe for like close to about a year and a half, because I've had a lot of like traumatic like loss and things like that.
Understood,
and
yeah.
affected work. It affected my mental health. So the big thing that kind of brought me over the edge is that my daughter lost one of her twins.
Oh my goodness, I'm so
And
sorry.
you know me from the
Carmen.
workplace, thank you. And I still share this story because for people, when they're processing grief and loss, they do that in a different way.
Yes.
And one of the pieces that we do in our work is to, wherever you are in that story, it's your story. So my daughter has a different, healing and process story. But for me, I wanted that his loss to mean something. So you know that I used to work at the workplace. Mm-hmm. That was my family. They're still my family. And I used to manage a construction program there. So when my grandson passed away, and he's got a brother, he was a twin, and just everybody, all my grandkids, I just love. But we, because he was cremated, there was no service, there was no funeral, nothing like that. So there was really no place for us to go and grieve and loss and process and connect. So I worked as a construction teacher. Tap for Humanity was a partner, and we made him a bench that myself, my grandchildren. So we made a commemorative bench with my grandchildren. The youngest then I think was like maybe 7, 8.
Oh, Carmen.
And then we started sharing the story. And as we started sharing the story, this grief and loss work kind of evolved. And in 18 months now, we have our own 5,000 square foot facility that we help families, we help community, and we engage and work together.
That's an awesome story. It really is. And you know what? Work is really, really good for grief. And especially when it's a child, you know what I mean? And having something, and I could tell you my story, how it connects me with Vima Row. When I met the guy that showed us on the tour, your main guy, what's his name?
Ben Benito.
Ben. So
hey, Ben.
Really, really quick. Thank you, Ben. Really, really quick. I'll tell my story, then you can get back to Vima Row. My first and only granddaughter, okay? First of all, let me go back. My brother, Gregory, bought my first son a high chair, a wooden high chair, the old school ones. My son's now 32 years old, so you know the chair's like 33 years old. My brother died when my first son was 10 months, okay? So I saved everything. I only saved the chair. I got rid of everything because that's the only thing he bought for my son. Okay, let's fast forward. My son has a daughter born on my brother's birthday.
Oh my God.
I get emotional telling
Don't
this
get me,
story.
'cause
Oh my
I'm on the
God.
edge
So
right
listen,
now.
I'm happy
Oh my
to
God,
see.
thank you for
So
sharing.
my granddaughter was born on my brother's birthday. And so I have the high chair and it's like Rocky, my husband did everything he could. So I'm talking to Ben and Ben's like, we could fix it. So I kind of told him a little bit of the story. So I'm already connected. If I could get that high chair in my car, I would have brought it down here, but
We
I
have
gotta
a
get my
truck. You let me
husband.
know. Ben, I'm
My
offering
husband
you
has
up
a
again.
truck, so we have to refurbish and fix this high chair to save for her child. And if I wish I had a picture of it, but that's my story, and that's why I think what you're doing is just so special. It's so unique, and how so many people can relate and get connected to it, just like me. You know, everybody's got that story. So anyway, that's my little story. All right, I'm done.
Oh no.
Back to you, Carmen.
And
This is
listen,
all about you.
so
And-
grief and loss is so impactful.
Yes.
You know, statistics say that the average loss creates 3 to 5 people left behind to process that. And you know, sometimes, and I'm still, it's like the baby's gonna be 2, but it still kind of comes back.
yeah.
Like
Oh,
I'll
yeah.
have like a good day.
Good memories.
And then the next day, I'll be like, I can't sleep, I'll cry, I'll think about, see, now you're gonna have me crying.
Oh, no.
Like how it impacts my daughter. You
Yep.
know what I mean? I think there's something profound when it's your child. So I know that my daughter has a different story than what I have, or it impacts her in a different way. I mean, she was like, you know what impacts me the most is during milestones.
Yep.
You know, he would have been walking here.
Holidays and
listen,
it just goes on and on.
I just
But
needed it to
use-
mean something.
Yeah, and it does. Look at this, V. Monroe.
So,
It's
and it's named
fantastic.
after him.
Okay.
So his name
Oh.
is Victor Manuel Rodriguez.
Okay.
Very Puerto Rican, okay? The very Puerto Rican name. So we
I
did
love
the
it.
first two letters of his name. And Vima also means I see more. So we want to be able, so you know that we do the Connecticut at Your Service
Yes,
show.
I do.
And that's always been about how are everyday heroes presenting in the world to create change.
Exactly.
Listen, and I involve my whole family. My husband is about as tired as he can be from loading and unloading my car and just with all my ideas and my working late nights. But when you do something that you find it's your purpose.
It's and so
It
much
doesn't feel like work.
passion. It doesn't.
It doesn't
I
feel like
love what I do, and it does not feel like work. And I help so many people with, like you said, with life insurance and grieving. I go to the funeral homes with them. I fill out the claim forms. I help them through every single step of it. So, it's really, really a passion. It feels like to me a ministry. And so that's my passion. And I'm going to get off course one more time. Carmen,
No problem.
everybody in this community loves you.
Oh,
Everybody
thank you.
knows you. You've helped so many people in so many ways.
So have you, my friend.
It is just unbelievable. And the one question I have for you is, and you're such a great community leader, how did this start? Where did it start with Carmen? You didn't, when you were a little girl, like 8 years old, we all want to be a nurse. You didn't say, oh, I want to grow up and be a community leader. Where did all this passion come from? And how did all this just, grow?
Do you have enough time for that?
Well, can you give
It's
us a
been,
synopsis?
dog years. It's
A
been a long
synopsis?
time. Oh no. So
Who
I can't
is
tell you.
Carmen?
So I can't tell you that I was a community leader always. I was born and raised in Stanford.
Okay.
I was married, pregnant, and a dropout at 17.
Oh.
I'm married twice. My husband now, we're going to be together almost 40 years.
Congratulations.
And I know you've been married for a long time too.
It's going to be
so-
40 years next year.
So anybody that's a strong, and not a lot of men can deal with us. You know what I mean? Like we are very
can't handle it.
strong, independent women, but those that we anchor to and that help us, allow us. My husband allows me to be me. Whether I'm a lifelong
beautiful.
learner. So I really like going to school. I like learning. I like meeting with people. I can't apply everything I learn all the time, but I do like to learn and apply and have ideas. So what brought me to Bridgeport was that I had lost my job, and in that, I lost my house. So we were trying to find like an apartment and ended up in Bridgeport, scared because Bridgeport has a bad rap.
Yes, it does.
But
I'm from Bridgeport and Father Panny Village. I can tell you how bad that rap is, and it's true.
you know, and they're like, oh my God. And listen, when we came, the whole city was shut down like 6 o'clock. Like you couldn't, their Blockbuster was open, maybe a couple of restaurants, but really nothing else where we were really living. And so I think that that's emerging, but I think so I took the Parent Leadership Training Institute initiative, which is really helping parents become leaders in their community. And I went, I ain't gonna lie, I'm sorry. I went because I could bring my children. And they had like daycare and they had dinner. So I was like, I could learn something. And actually, I worked at Career Resources and I went to take some clients on a tour of the Parent Center. And that's where I picked up the application. And my friend Dee, I tell this story all the time, that back in the day, you had to finagle how you do your business, right?
Exactly.
So I would have on my phone, my daughters will crack up if they're watching this, because I would have the phone and it would have like multiple like voicemails within that, right? So if they picked it up, somebody would say, yeah, can I have Carmen at extension 2? There was no extension 2. It was just like, you can leave a message in that box number 2. And they would be like, what are you talking about? So my friend Dee, who was recruiting for the Parent Leadership Training Institute, called 3 different times. And young people don't like answering the phone. They're not the nicest. So I almost didn't get in, but I've been with that program probably like 16, 17 years. And have helped over 350 parents find their purpose. So really it was about how do you show up in the world for yourself, and I didn't know. I couldn't even, the way that I speak.
You did not pick it. The career and the path picked you. That's what it sounds like.
And it's funny that you asked me that, because it hasn't been something that I've thought about for like a while. But it was just about being present. Like for us in our company now, our colors are black and yellow because we are like worker bees in the community, right? And my girlfriend Margarita, I'm throwing all name dropping all over the place.
She's doing a show with me in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and she's awesome. And she's the one we want to work on to do that series that we talked about with grief and loss. But she told me this story about bumblebees. That bumblebees defy logic because they should not be able to fly because their wings are too small. And I think when we started thinking about the colors of like our business and all that, one, we create a buzz. I know you, I'm going to introduce you to this one. We're going to talk about this event. And then we pollinate, right? I grab a little bit over here, I put it over there. We create something new. We create a buzz. We're worker bees in the community. Our workshop, we call it the Hive, because that's, you know, and then we have to work together. The mural on our wall says together. So it just really felt, I can't tell you kind of where it started, but it started in Bridgeport because I have a domestic violence like background, meaning that I was, I have lived experience with that. And I'm not gonna say like beat up or anything like that, but social, emotional, certainly. But I feel like I came into myself in Bridgeport. And then Donna Thompson Bennett, because when you do a lot of things, you and I are all over the place. We're in a meeting here, we're networking, we're doing this. And she gave me really, really good advice that says that when you're somebody that's very engaged, just remember what hat you're wearing. So am I at this meeting being a parent leader? Am I a business owner? Which hat am I wearing? And it makes just such a difference. So in our journey, and I've started many projects, like I didn't know anybody here. So I was like really trying to help myself. So we had started a program called the East Side Resource Exchange, where it was like we barter, but within that community. So we did that. We, when my granddaughter was born, I had started like doing photography. My husband bought me a camera, but it was we started doing some work with the Red Cross that when families were burnt out, we did new family portraits.
Oh, wow.
So I can't tell you that I said, oh my God, this is what I'm gonna do. I honestly, it was never that. It was just about opportunity. How do you show up as somebody who's helpful in the community? And I will tell you, other than a regular wage, a lot of what I do, I don't get paid for.
Yeah.
But that's got to change now that I'm on my own now. But I just think that anybody can be a hero, Vanita.
I think so.
And people come through and however, and I'll share this story because I feel like it's very, very impactful. When we started doing this work of creating commemorative things, which is really, first it was how do I process my own loss? How do we help other families process their loss? And now we have a program that families and communities can get together and share information, share your art, whatever, co-work, let's do it together.
Yeah, and helping others, you're really helping yourself because you kind of not forget about it, but put it on the side and put somebody else's needs or feelings in front of yours. And in the interim, you're helping yourself.
Give it a purpose.
It is.
People live with purpose.
Yes.
Whatever it is. And I just wanted that to be of purpose. And then we started really focusing on people that are doing that as well. One of my guests that was on my show, his name is Steven Diaz, and he lost his son. He was, the dad was the umpire, and his son was a little league coach, and he died of adrenal cancer. This is like the big project that the latest big project that we did. So instead of using the donations or the gifts that families gave to help pay for the funeral, instead he took all that money, which was like $16,000 or something, and gave it to the Little League. So when they approached us to like make him a bench, I'm like, we can't make him no little street bench.
Exactly.
So we made him a 10-foot Adirondack chair. So we commissioned somebody to make it. His family came and painted it, and then we commissioned an artist to do the artwork on it. And then we did a public installation at the field. So it sits at Blackham School.
Wow.
So we wanted
That's unbelievable.
We want to feature and empower people to turn their grief and loss into whatever it is.
Exactly.
And we tell people you don't have to advocate with a picket sign or a program within your own family. Have discussions, planning. Before the show we were talking about, we want to really do some healing work, whether it's through art or whatever, but families don't plan because we don't like to talk about the inevitable.
Yes,
right?
Unless you have a life insurance agent in the family, and
or
and
no
kids,
one on TV.
They never want to talk about it, but I make them sit down and talk about it. One thing I've done with my family, that growing up in Father Panic Village with a single abused mom and all that, 7 kids, we never did family meetings, and we weren't that close because everybody was like for themselves, unfortunately. So with my family, I made sure that we sat down, and my kids hate to go in the dining room and the living room because that's where we have all of our meetings and talk about whatever problem is going on. Like my oldest son used to pick on the little one, and he didn't realize the impact it was having on him. So we sat down, we talked about it, and my youngest son was telling him how he felt, and he started crying, then he started crying, then I started crying, and then we began to heal. So it's exactly what you're talking about. It's
we are our worst enemy.
Yeah,
Anita.
yeah, you gotta
and
talk about
I will think
it.
things to the point where I just think the worst, and then we'll say it and be like, oh, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
And
it hurts for 20 seconds, and then you start to heal.
And just giving it voice.
Yep.
To be, and talk to your family. I mean, my husband and I don't know that it was really spearheaded by when my grandson passed, but I think that it definitely had been bringing to light, what if something happens to us?
Exactly.
I'm diabetic, my husband, we both have sleep apnea. You just never know. You could be going down the street doing everything perfectly fine and you pass unexpected.
Exactly.
So we want to encourage families because grief and loss is not only death. If you end up getting displaced from your family or a relationship ended, the things feel the same.
Exactly.
But what might have initiated it might be different. But if we help to identify those things, it could really, really, really make a difference.
It makes a world of difference. I tell people on a regular basis, I don't care if you're 20, 30, 40, 50, if you're healthy, sick or not, get your affairs in order. To Vanita, time is my most valuable asset because I don't know how much of it I have left. Yeah. And if all your affairs in order, it'll be one less thing you think about at night. Take care of the things that keep you up at night. Do I have life insurance? or, what's going to happen to my house if I die and I can't pay my half of the bills, and is my husband going to have to sell, or, get all those things off your mind. You'll sleep a lot better. Get all your affairs in order. Get a will. And if you don't think you need a will, here's my first reason why I got a will. My cousin approached me. He goes, he was doing legal service, I think Legal Shield.
Yeah.
And he tried to get me to do it, and he said, "Well, you get a free will." I was like, I don't need a will. I don't have anything. We just bought the house. The bank owns it, and we're in debt. So he said to me, "Now listen to this. You have 2 children under 18. If you and your husband go to the movies and can't make it back, what's going to happen to them?" That was my reason for getting a will. My kids. So you don't need, $1 million, a big house and a boat and all this stuff. You need a reason to have it, whatever your reason is. And I would just say that's one way to get your affairs in order.
And most people are like, I'll be all right, this and that. But when you think about how it impacts one of those 3 to 5 people I mentioned.
Yeah. You'll be dead. You'll be fine. You won't feel a thing.
Just having a conversation.
Yeah.
So when my husband and I, we did what's called a mirror will.
What?
It's a mirror will.
A mirror
So they're
will? I
both
never
the
heard of
same.
that. Oh, okay.
They mirror each other.
Okay.
So we talked about like what happens, who gets what, because I had life insurance through my job, which was like 3 times whatever your salary is.
Precedes a will. Whoever the beneficiary is on that life insurance policy, and I can tell you from experience, regardless of whatever that will says, whoever the beneficiaries are on that will, I will go out to that person, the beneficiary, sit down with them, do a claim form, and give them that money, and if it's 5 different people, I'll do 5 different claims, and that money will be in their hand long before anything else even
That's awesome.
evolves.
But people don't think about that.
So life insurance is the most effective way to transfer assets. And another thing about this, if you have 3 kids and you have a will and you only put 2 kids on because the other one, went down the wrong road, let's just say. Like one of my brothers said, if you don't put Y or leave him $2, he could come back and contest that will and get 1/3 of it. So there's so many things. And what I do free confidential needs analysis. I'll drive anywhere in Connecticut, sit at your house, and go over, and I start with the 4 areas that will impact your life the most. So we have, thank you, Francis, go about 4 minutes left. Let's give it the last 4 minutes to V My Bro. Because we could do this for like 2 hours.
Follow us both, because I think we have workshops that are coming up and discussions that are very important for families with children, or just I don't care if it's your pet, because some people take care of their pet.
That's right.
Whatever it is. So Vima Row, like I mentioned and I started in the show, we've started from the basis of grief and loss in our work and healing. We now have a 5,000 square foot facility right here in Bridgeport, Connecticut. It's at 596 John Street. We have parking. We're a co-working space. We offer our members co-working space, build space, and retail space where they could create. We're for the community, by the community. The artwork that we do is led through community engagement efforts. Like I might say, you should get that, and the community comes together and wants something else, so we'll change that. On my website, our phone number is on there. We are looking for volunteers. We're looking for teaching artists that either want to be members and rent our space, or that want to teach something, and we'll hire them out as we get grants and things. We're looking for builders. We're looking for students that have to do like internships, because there's so many compartments. We have sewing machines, press machines, Cricut machines. We're looking to get an embroidery machine, resin, where you can make keepsake pieces. We make keepsake boxes, benches. We got a contract with a program called Rise Up that we make special picnic tables for people in wheelchairs. It's called Able Tables.
Oh, I saw those. Those are beautiful.
So we just have so much, Vanita, that we're just touching the surface of how we need to work together to make our community a better, safer, and healthier place by
Right.
working together. So
And-
thank you so much for
Yep.
having me on.
You're very welcome. And also, I was going to ask you about your membership. We could do it offline. We also will need services. So if you can't build or don't want to build or don't have a meeting or whatever, and you just want to come by and find out what resources, free resources
Absolutely.
are available, I'm going to look to you to see if I could do a pop-up or whatever it is available.
Yeah, and I think all of those things are because
Yep.
our members that make like baskets or make jewelry or whatever it is, we have a store that they can sell, and we're going to be able to take 10 small businesses in that space. So,
Right.
Vanita, thank you so much for having me on. I think that the work that you do is incredible in sharing information, and I'm glad that I was on your show because we talk about the ugly truth.
Yes, we do.
The
Thank
truth and
you.
reality.
That's right. That's what it is. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story about V. Monroe and your grandson and how that is going to just touch everybody out there. So everyone out there, please share this. We're on YouTube. Share it with your family, your friends, and it's also going to be recorded on Access TV channels. And I'll be bringing you some more information from V. Monroe from time to time. As I get it, I'll report it through the David Goodman Reality and Truth Show. Carmen Nieves, thank you a bunch. I love you so much, and I really appreciate you
Oh,
coming on.
thank you.
This is the David Goodman Reality and Truth Show, and we're on your side.